Peace, y'all. Before we start this episode of Real Notes, I wanted to let you know that my first book ever, Real Notes, Culture Writing on the Margins of Music and Movies, is out right the fuck now. That shit feels so crazy to say. About 2-ish years ago, my good homie Austin Williams approached me about writing a primer on the worlds of digital journalism, criticism, and how they interact for his journalism students, and naturally, I jumped at the opportunity. This book is part autobiography, part journalism textbook, and part essay collection spotlighting some of my earlier work, particularly from my old stomping grounds over at djbooth.net. This industry has always been unstable, but with layoffs and general consolidations happening at publications all over, this book feels more pertinent now than it did while I was writing it. And while it may be for students, anyone who's a fan of writing, music, film, and this podcast, of course, will appreciate it. The book is only available digitally through the Kindle app and through the Amazon link below. So go to Amazon, search for Real Notes, Culture Writing on the Margins of Music and Movies, and just add that shit to your collection, man. No, you don't need to have a Kindle in order to read the book. Either download the Kindle app or you can access it through the Amazon one-click link. So many people have been asking me, like, you don't need to own a Kindle. I promise I wouldn't do that to y'all. Just, like, grab the book if you can, if you're able. Good looks if you can. I really appreciate your support and consideration. It means the world. Now let's get back to talking. Peace. If you're listening to this, welcome to Real Talk, an exclusive interview series where we screen movies with rappers, producers, journalists, and other rap-adjacent folks and talk to them about how, if at all, those specific movies inspire their craft. That means that you paid for the Patreon and you're so appreciated. My guest this time is North Carolina rapper MAVI. We spoke about the themes, pros, and cons of the 1992 horror classic Candyman, the importance of love, creative process behind his great new album Shadowbox, and a few tour stories from special guest Ovrkast. Good looks for being here. It really means a lot. Now, come fuck with us.
He was hella freaked out. I ain't seen that movie in like 5 years. And I thought it was just a regular horror movie. Like, I didn't know he was hella freaky. Like he was like killing the therapist, like he was fucking him.
Yeah, dog.
He was hitting him from the back.
That's what I was saying before with the grunge. He was like,
And then like all the emphasis on the word hook. Like,
yeah.
It's just,
And then at the beginning, the craziest part of the beginning is when he's like, "I'll rip you from Freud to gullet." I was like, all right, bro.
Like overly sexual.
It's cracking.
Nothing.
Why you shaking my hand like a white man? I'm gonna do you think? I want to be all in
Yeah, I mean, like people do freaky shit for love. I think is one of the lessons of Candyman.
I was like trying to like brush up on what happened in the movie, so I was like, I just searched Candyman. I first put it on. And it was like, is the real villain of Candyman housing segregation?
I mean, kind of.
Kind of, sort of, right?
Like mid-key, honestly.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, man. That shit was fucked up.
Yeah, bro.
I
Like.
need you to direct me. I have thoughts, but I don't even know how to initiate it.
All right, so let me start here. So Candyman is a movie from 1992. Written and directed by a man named Bernard Rose. It was based on a short story that Clive Barker wrote in the 80s that took place in like 1800s Liverpool. It's like also about racism and segregation and gentrification, but Bernard Rose had the idea. He read the story and he's like, he was just like, instead of Liverpool, I want to set it in Chicago. And they were like, why? So like, they went and did like they scouted and they found a location and they found Cabrini Green and they learned about Cabrini Green and they were like, oh, like this is the perfect place to set a movie like Candyman. It just makes sense to do it here, make it like contemporary or like, like for the time contemporary, because this is like the early 90s. They made 3 of these. There was I haven't seen the other 2. They're probably not great. And then yeah, that sounds about right. Like any horror classic from the 80s and 90s has hella random sequels that don't like after like 3 or 4 for like the best ones, the shits don't matter. But and then they made the 2021. It's like a remake. It's technically a sequel. Who here is seeing Candyman before they came today? Okay. And who's seen the new one? All right. Does anyone care if I spoil the new one?
No.
All right. So because A, it's not good. B, the baby at the end is the character in the new Candyman. Like they reveal it at the end. It's like, oh, I'm the baby, or somebody's like, oh, that's the baby that was saved from the, like, super cool idea, just like kind of boring meh movie, and I felt sad about it because I know Nia DaCosta directed it. She's amazing. I love her. They should have just let her do her own thing. If anybody here hasn't seen Nanny, she wrote and directed the horror movie Nanny. Incredible, so much better than Candyman, or than her Candyman. But okay, this is gonna blow some heads. So the person Tony Todd is Candyman. Originally, they wanted Eddie Murphy to be Candyman. I'm so dead ass. They wanted Eddie Murphy to be Candyman.
I can see the voice.
Like, was he?
Laughing anyway.
Yeah.
That vampire in Brooklyn isn't that far.
I mean, but you see this nigga Gap just emerge from the shadows. It's a hard nigga to be scared of.
Yeah, nah. Like this is like before he started doing like dramatic acting, and I think it would have been too crazy of a leap. I don't think he would have been able to handle it. One more fun fact I just found while like doing research yesterday. So that bee scene at the end, those were all actual real life bees. There were 200,000 on the set, all controlled by one person. They put a mouth guard in Tony Todd's mouth so he could like have the bees be in his mouth. And I think they put both him and Virginia Madsen, the white lady, under hypnosis, like legit hypnosis to like, cause she's deathly allergic to bee stings. So they had to have all the bees be stingerless, or else she would have died. Tony Todd had it written in his contract that he would get he would get an extra stack for every time he got stung by a bee. I want y'all to guess how many times he got stung.
0.
50.
23.
That's a good comment.
He got stung 23 times.
I don't know, 23 racks is worth that though.
Yeah, I mean to me, like, yeah, I mean like cool story, but like I don't even know if 5 racks would be worth it for me. I mean like I'm not allergic to bee stings, but I'm not like 23 times, like.
It's about your money.
Nah, man. So okay, I asked you before like why you chose this movie. I want to go into a little more detail. When was the first time you saw Candyman?
It had to be like either late 2019, early 2020, like just before the pandemic or in the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
One of those times when I was in my Maryland apartment doing all the drugs and watching all the movies. Yeah, when I thought the world was over.
Right. I mean, like, this is a hell of a movie to be watching when you think the world is over too.
Yeah, for sure. And no, I fuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was dating this girl. I was really into horror, so I was like, "This is hard. This is fun." Yeah.
Yeah. How else like so like the first time you watched it, like how did you feel about it?
Oh, I fucked with it because it was a horror movie in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
About being a horror movie in the hood that wasn't about being a horror movie in the hood. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
It just happened in the hood. You know?
Right.
And like it was used to like talk about or to mention or to document some of the social ills, but it wasn't, and even to like explain some of them, but it wasn't like preachy or like white savior-y.
Yeah.
You got a little white savior at the end.
Right.
But I ain't like that they all came to my funeral and shit like that.
Yeah, that was a little weak.
Yeah, that was good. But beyond that, it was like a it was a moderately dignified account of like what went wrong at the Community Green.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know how I feel about it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I don't know.
there's a lot of little details that stuck out on me on this second watch. Like I was telling you before, he's just named Candyman. He doesn't have a name. You don't. And you're like when the owl professor dude was telling the story, like you don't see the story play out, and the camera just is on her face the whole time, and that it's freaky because it's like it felt weird. Like why are we watching her react to this? Yeah. But also like I didn't need to see him like strung up naked with the bees and shit, but like it was just weird that they chose to focus on her face like that.
Yeah, definitely. She was, I mean, and it was weird to me that like his victims were all black people.
Yeah.
That was like hella strange. I don't know why. I think they did it differently in the new one, according to my reading. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, if I got lynched and I got a chance to be a ghost that can kill people made of bees, I don't know that I would just go kill a bunch of like innocent black people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, cause like earlier when you were talking about like, cause I mean like the movie is about legends. It's about like keeping legends alive and you know like belief and I guess if you, mostly just belief. And like it was really strange that I mean like of course he's in love with the lady like or you know like she's like a stand-in for the woman that he was in love with, but it was you know like he was like feared in Cabrini Green. It's not like he was you know it's not like he was like Spider-Man like here to like protect the hood
that's
or some
shit.
shit.
Niggas be, bro.
Yeah.
That's how niggas be sometimes. Niggas like want to make a name that's impressive enough to where people whisper about them, but at the expense of people who look like them.
Yeah. It's like I don't want to say he exactly like threw people under the bus, but it's just it's like I don't know, like once again I kind of feel the same way about the character of Bernadette too, because like she didn't really have a character.
Yeah.
Like she had no personality, no discern. Literally, like the black best friend, the homegirl. Like you don't know what her outside life is like. She's just there to be like, yeah, nah, we're not going there. Like we're not cops. Like and also like, why you gotta tell people you're not a cop so many times? Like she said that shit at least 4 or 5 times.
You're not the. Yeah. Yeah. She was really frightened in a way that like they left a lot on the table with her.
Yeah.
For sure. And like it could have raised the stakes beyond this is her friend in her death.
Right.
You know, even if they wrote her dying the same way, they would have given her a line. Yeah.
Right. I kind of, because like in the new one, they do focus a little more on, like they tried to drive the gentrification aspect home. They tried to drive like the racial animus home a little bit more. It was just kind of all over the place and it's just not what I was expecting when I first turned the shit on last night. But
one thing I did like was that, like kind of the subtlety to it, like like the policeman telling her, we don't need him, we have you.
Right.
Like, where it's like, I don't know. It was like she got so much benefit of the doubt for being a white woman.
Yeah. And she like noticed it too because she's like, oh, well, like 2 people got murdered and they didn't do nothing, but they came for me. And it's like, yeah, that's how that is.
That's
like, welcome. Here's your cookie.
Yeah. Yeah, she was kind of fucked.
Yeah. But we also didn't even really know that much about her, so it was like everyone was like so like it worked, it was effective, but like I wish I knew more about literally any like you know like they just kind of felt like types, just like they you know like it felt like the protagonist.
But
like,
that's why I think it's a blaxploitation though, because
yeah.
it's so slasher in the sense of like nobody matters that much beyond their like most surface level symbolism.
Right, like yeah, like they serve like a basic function and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and like to me the thing that really stuck out about Candyman is that I mean we don't gotta say that he died a very senseless death. You know, like obviously like really horrible stuff. And he like at the end of the day, he just wanted to be remembered. Like in like his own twisted way, like, you know, just like that racist act really just fucked him up to the point where he's like, this is how I can make people remember me. And he like he wanted to be remembered. Like it's like his own twisted way of like trying to give back or something. Like I wanna be remembered by like killing all these people who live in the peas.
I don't get that nigga, bro. Like, I really don't get that nigga right there. He's probably the nigga I get the least out the whole movie.
Honestly, because like, they didn't like do it enough. What's up, bro?
You mind if I opine for a moment?
Please.
I think guys are keep in mind. They point out he's rich. He's a
Right.
rich guy.
Right.
In his mind, I ain't got nothing to count these niggas. That's what he's thinking, like, I just died here.
And he want the white woman.
Right.
So from when I watched it, I would thought, you know, he talks eloquently. He's like, well, these simple folk, I can make a legend of, quite literally, a legend of myself.
Right.
He's a ghost that can die somehow, but within that realm, he's like, well, this is how my immortality happens by making these people who I think he envisions are below him, only to class level.
I can see that. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. So I wish, like you said earlier, Dylan, that they would give us more of his backstory so we know that. But on my second watch, I was thinking like, I didn't like the movie first time I watched it. I watched it a similar time as you said you did, Mommy, because you know every time people talk about black horror growing up, it was this and like Tales from the Hood. So I was like, okay, I gotta watch it. And then I was like, to me, it did feel like an inverted white savior movie on a certain level, especially with the ending. But even before, because like whether it's Bernadette or the janitor women or all the people in the hood, like all the black characters in the movie served, like on a narrative level, they served to create her story and her protagonist story, but also even within the film, like she only goes in the hood so she can get published,
Right.
write her dissertation,
Yeah.
and so she's super exploitive of the community. But then the movie itself is also exploitive of the community. But what you said about myth making, Mommy, then look at it different, where it's like because Candyman's real in this universe,
Right.
So it's not a myth. The only myth that I saw in the movie was really how they talk about the hood.
Yeah.
Like how you know, in the beginning of the movie, she's like, all right, someone died there yesterday, and she's like, they die there every day. Or even when they come into
Right.
Shawty's apartment, she's like, oh, you think I'm a crackhead? You think I'm a dealer? You think I'm a and so,
Gang
like,
bang.
Yeah, and nobody actually died to gangbang in the
Exactly.
entire movie.
Right.
No drugs were sold.
Right. They just pressed them for like 10 seconds, you know? Like
Exactly. And so it's just like him saying that he calls the hood like his congregation and like
Yeah.
he's like his believers and stuff. And so to me it essentially just becomes about how like America uses black communities as like creates myths around black communities to then justify how they subjugate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the problem with the movie is I don't think the director was smart enough to come up with that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It felt really surface level.
Like I think that's us looking at it as smart black people.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't think they would have made that movie if that's what they were trying to do.
But then it's also like if you break it down like through your analysis, even on like a more base level, it's like this person who is in control of or deeply influential to this group of people in pursuit of like some type of symbolic access to whiteness literally throws the whole community like to the fire. You know what I'm saying?
When you said that first time I watched the movie, when you said it's a black exploitation film, that really like it clicked with me because like they have that kind of narrative in those films of like a very centralized like figure who can save the hood, but like they don't really save the hood, they save their own interests.
Right.
You know, like a capitalist or like, you know, centralized figure doing their own thing. Or like you can see like there's the he calls his congregation, right? He's like doing things for the people, but then like his goal is the white woman, right? The entire time in the past and the future, like he'll kill the baby, oh come no, I want you. Like he's very much so like the selfishness of that all is like very like might have been a short sight by the director, like not it was on purpose, but like it becomes like it acts kind of like oh black exploitation and also like this kind of I guess parable about this sense of like you know the male if not like you know I guess the minority of like to be the savior of an area and not really do anything with it, you know.
Yeah.
But like be that person, but like not do that thing.
I wish you made the movie, bro. Real quick, like this is great. I got time for one more, and then we got some other questions I'd like to get to about the album. But I want to hear from Antoine because he had his hand up.
Well, it's all good. Just piggybacking off of, I'm trying to make it short, piggybacking off a few people, it really is a lot about, like you said, this myth making. There's also this idea that only black people believe this myth, and people don't believe the black people talking about this myth. So what I always found interesting with this movie is that Cabrini Green really was the hotspot for sociology in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any sociological work, it was Cabrini Green, we have to investigate, blah, blah, blah. So in some ways, I think the director was somewhat intentional with that kind of backdrop, but the myth making, it only holds up within this black community, right? So that's, I kind of drew this idea, it is this black exploitation thing where like, it's the kid who finally rallies everyone together to burn the closet bonfire.
Yeah.
Because this is the only community that actually would do something about it. So I do think there's an interesting give back and forth between like myth and belief, and no one believes these black people, but they believe in this Candyman. And this Candyman knows they believe in him, and they believe him, but they at least believe in him so he can live on. Because the white people won't believe in him.
Right, and then you know there's just like the aspect of him just kind of being like a specter that lives over Cabrini Green, and just like everybody already knows who he is. Like she doesn't even mention him, and they're like, oh, you mean Candyman? Yeah. Like it's just like the legend's already there, and he just kind of it's just kind of on some like we're all feeding the monster shit a little bit, and I think it's crazy that you picked this movie to watch because listening to Shadowbox, it took me to, there's a song near the end right before Drunk Prayer called Drown the Snake, where you and the homie are talking about like this demon that just like lives with you and grows with you. And right before it goes into Drunk Prayer, you're just like, so how do you kill it? And it just immediately cuts into the song. Yeah. And like Shadowbox to me is like you grappling with a lot of different demons, whether they be addictions or mistakes, relationships with loved ones, grappling with fame. Like this is you kind of outside of the context of everything we just talked about. This is like you outwardly fighting with your Candyman across an album.
Right, exactly.
You know, absolutely. Like so it's like kind of wild that that's the movie, that this is the movie you picked to do this with, and like considering how I mean, let's just start there. Like, walk me through the making of Shadowbox, because like this really does feel like such a left turn even from Laughing So Hard It Hurts, which is already like it was on the border of that shit already. Yeah. So like walk me through, how do we get from Laughing So Hard to Shadowbox?
Oh man, I can't even remember. No, seriously. How we got there was like, I got on the road basically a few months after So Hard It Hurts came out. During that, had a breakup, got with somebody else, got addicted to alcohol, had some major self-esteem issues that caused me to like jump from one person's arms to the next and then jump into this pool of alcohol. Mm-hmm. And it was in the making of like we began making it in earnest like when I got off the road. And so I always tell people, it's like when you're on the road, it's like, oh, let's have a drink after the show. Let's have a drink after the show. And you get home and you're an alcoholic. So it was like me seeing the rubble from tour. And then I knew I needed to rap because like I don't really know what else to do. But then it was like I was kind of really damaging myself at the same time as I'm like trying to make the best music I can make. So like every single day, from like The Giver to 20,000 Leagues to I Did, is like things that actually happened that day, and me like trying to like see my own morality or feel okay about myself, whether it's through like spirituality, through alcoholism, and then putting those on different sides of the spectrum. Just all the ways that I try to make myself feel like an okay guy. And I think like the breakthrough of how to become an okay guy
Mm-hmm.
actually dawned on me not super long ago. So, yeah, so it's like now I'm like living in the goddamn construction zone, but shadowbox is me living in the ashes and still trying to stay intact.
Mm.
Yeah.
See, because you take the first two songs, you take 20,000 Leagues and you take Ocean Floor. Like 20,000, well, so like let's start with 20,000 Leagues real quick. Like 20,000 Leagues is the whole time you're talking to somebody. It's affirmations and kind of like apologies and statements to someone. There's no name mentioned. There's no, who are you talking to on that song?
Well, that's kind of my favorite writing on the album, and I think what's interesting about that song is because, like, on some lines I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah.
Some lines are things I wish were told to me, and so it becomes like this kind of statement of like undying love to begin the album, and it's kind of mirrored with like how I end it.
Yeah.
Because I was doing this like a very spiritual Baptist kind of one too, I definitely wanted to like start it with like like beginning and damn near with a prayer. You know what I'm saying? And so it became like a statement that like stuff I wish my mom told me, or stuff I wish if God talked English, he would say, or stuff that I want people who never want to talk to me again to know about how I feel about them, or how I want my future child to know, I feel about them. So things like that. It was kind of like the purest declaration of love that I had at that moment.
Right. To like a bunch of different people, and like
and to me
and to you, like it's got that like blanket statement feel that really establishes like, hey, I'm really grappling with this right now. But then like Ocean Floor is it feels to me like you like legit hit the bottom.
Yeah, and that's also why like baptism was like a really interesting theme that I played with throughout the album, because the thing about addiction is like every day you want to not want something suddenly. But it takes like a lot of days to stop wanting something.
Yeah.
That makes you feel good. So like baptism, where like someone becomes new and is reborn and a part of them dies instantaneously upon submersion. That was like a really like sexy idea to me. And like even that is why like on Drown the Snake, where I'm like pleading with my homie who's like a really religious person, like, so how do you do this? Like, and wanting like a clear button to press, or a combination of a few buttons to press.
Right.
And that ends up not being the case, and when you get to the end of the album,
Right. And it's like, to me, the rest of the album really feels like you hit the bottom of the ocean, and you kind of like admit these, or like not like admit things, or I mean you do admit things, but it's like you're kind of working to desperately claw your way back to the top of like your peace of mind, your sanity, like trying to like
a sense of self, like as a good guy.
Yeah.
Because and that was one of the things too. Is like sometimes like I'm a really nice person, and I'm a gentle person, I'm a delicate person, and I'm a giver, like to a fault. But like, kind of like those are not good characteristics in a good person. Follow me? Because like if I'm like really nice and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, then I will lie to people, because like hurting people is not what I ever want to do. And that's like actually like being a people pleaser. Basically, it was like a horrible way for me to be, because I ended up hurting more people trying not to hurt people than like just doing the hard work of like being honest with like other people, including myself.
Yeah.
Like just always trying to please myself means that I medicate myself immediately when something's uncomfortable, rather than like forcing myself into the discomfort because of a greater potential outcome. So yeah, I had to like be like, I know intellectually that I'm not all that I do, but let's for a moment suppose all that I am is what I do and not what I intend. Is that a good person? Probably not. So like, let's get to being a good person. Actually, for real this time.
Right. Like it's like every song feels like a piece of you trying to figure out like, oh, I did this wrong. Let me figure out let me try to make it right. Figure out a way to do it right. Like one image that really struck me is like the beginning of "I'm So Tired," where you're just like, my grandmother turned 80 and I'm on 3 Percocets. Like, what a goddamn opening to a song. Like, that shit really just right in the heart, bro. You know?
Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, that's fucked up. Yeah, that one's fucked up, man. But yeah, it's like when I really juxtapose, like, I want to appear at my grandma's birthday as like a good grandson and someone she's proud of. And she want me to do a little rap at her birthday party.
Oh.
But then, you know what I'm saying? This is what I really be on, grandma. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's like,
man.
and that was important that I was early too, because it's like, this is how low shit got. Like, so it's like, it made me like really fall in love with like the journey of like my like instinct and urge and deepest desire to be good. Like, fuck a good person, just good to people, like be approved by people, be validated. And then also from going from wanting that to like actually being that, like being of service, being consistent, being truthful,
Yeah.
being caring, being considerate. So yeah.
Yeah. And then like you end testimony with like this thank you to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
You know, like whether it's like fans or family or just like, you know, like you even acknowledging like it's a blessing that I'm here and that I'm able to do this. Like, this is something I always wanted to do, and I just want to use that to be the best person I can
Right.
be. You know, like it like you really, it's like the thing about Laughing So Hard It Hurts that really gets me is like that whole album feels like you're in free fall.
Yeah.
Especially having listened to the new one, like this one feels like, okay, I hit the ground and I'm making my way back up the mountain.
Right.
You know, like that's just like where you're at now, and it's harrowing stuff, but you also it feels like you're getting closer to being to where you are, and like it's a constant battle.
Yeah, but
You know?
but it's like I have no one left to hurt. I have no more hurt that I can withstand at my own hands.
Mm.
So like it's kind of like, I don't know, and that's why God in alcohol was interesting as a parallel for this, because it's like about submission.
Yeah.
It's like I cannot fight what I need to do any longer. I cannot.
Right.
So it's not even that I won't necessarily, like I didn't want to so bad, but I didn't want to against all odds. But now it's like all the odds are saying, yeah, nigga, get on your shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I think the production of the whole project really exemplifies that too, because it's so stark. Like this is it's a pretty far cry. Like there's nothing that like there isn't much that's like bubbly and jumpy like the stuff on Laughing So Hard or even Let the Sun Talk was. You know, like it's like there's like even like there are brighter moments like Latch, I Did, and Grindstone are 3 that are kind of like they could maybe.
But then even like
Like-
my latch is like, my eyes move quarter time, my pupils quarter size, I'm lifted. I need
Like-
endorphins high, if only for the night I'm injured. I set my core aside like, but the source cure my symptoms. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not a happy dude.
Right, exactly. You know, it's just like there's so many rap songs I could think of where it's like the beat's super happy, it's super lively, and it's just like the most depressing, heartbreaking. You know, just like like the one I always come back to is like Bobby Shmurda's Hot Nigga. That like that one, like just like being being in school and like you hear it. And then like I heard it, and then I would see people just like in the cafeteria talking about some catch a body by the weekend. I'm just like, Am I the only person who gets what this song is? Like, it just hit me, you know? And like, not to say that I think that's gonna happen here, but I'm always fascinated by that dichotomy because it's everywhere on this joint.
Because also it's like we laugh after funerals,
Mm-hmm.
you know? We might laugh at the funeral if the pastor's
We laughed at Candyman.
Yes, we were laughing at Candyman. Like, for real. We were a room full of black people laughing at Candyman. Like, so it's like, there is levity in almost all trials. And when I couldn't find it in myself as a writer, I still was able to find it in production in certain spots, like I said.
Right. And so two-part question with the production. A, what was sourcing beats for this album like? Because it really does feel like you had like a mission at stake here. So actually, yeah, let's just start there.
I think, like when me and Zay were first like starting out, he's like, all right, like let's work on a new thing. Like, what kind of beats do you want? And I'm like, I don't want beats. Like, I want music.
Mm-hmm.
So like, everything is like super, like people played it, and like we worked together to like put together a team of people with like real strong musicality. Because sometimes I feel like there are complicated ideas that I want to express in the writing that I might need like a complicated chord to do it with, you know? And I need people who I can show up hungover and shambles, super sad, tell how my life is, and then they like play a chord that kind of feels like, oh, yeah. And I think that's how the production works for the most part.
I think so too. And like the two, like there's a lot of different people all over this. Like Jacob Rochester's on here. Yeah, Jacob Rochester, Monte Booker. But the two names who pop up more than any other are Dreamhouse and Two Tone.
Yeah.
So like,
Angela and Kevin, that's Two-Tone,
Mm-hmm.
So we, like, I would just go to their house and we would get tacos, and like, I would sit on their couch and lament, or we would watch a movie, or I'd just go over there and take a nap, and be over their house for 8 hours and make one song. And they were with me every step of the way, because they just like grab instruments. They're like, what do you want to make? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, all right, what if I play this? I'm like, nah, what if I play this? I'm like, yeah. And then we just kind of went from there.
Yeah, cause they got like 75% of the beats on here, and you're like you said, like most of them aren't even beats. There's some, of course, but like even like once again, I'm gonna go back to 20,000 Leagues. Like I remember Zay played it for me like months ago, and it was like the first song he played me, and I was just like it really does like swell on some like orchestral shit that doesn't feel like it's
not a rap song,
right? But it's also not like, the thing I love about your music is that you're always talking about dense, real, heavy shit, but it never feels like you're beating people over the head, or that you're being portentous or just like uppity for the sake of being uppity.
I don't think my music like pats itself on the ass, but it also doesn't like feel sorry for itself. And I think that's important.
Finding that middle ground. It's so hard to find that middle ground because like you wanna be yourself. Like it's all performance at the end of the day, but you don't want it to feel fake, or like you're trying, like nobody wants to be a part of a pity party.
Right.
And this album is not a pity party. It's like some real, let me reach into the bottom of my brain and pull this out for you and take it how you will. I'm in a different place now, but I was not okay over here.
I was not straight.
You know, like
because like I was talking to my homie Micah about this, and like part of the Drown the Snake thing too, like why religion was like super poignant for me as like inspiration, because like in like especially in like the Bible, like good stuff don't really happen to kings that much.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this like concept of like your daily bread being like the word of God.
Right.
Like you can be starving spiritually and then be like drunk and overfed and gluttonous, like physically.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was talking to my homie. I'm like, fuck, I've been being a tyrant. And he's like, yep. I'm telling you.
That's why he's your homie.
Yeah.
Because he'll tell you that. He'll tell you when you're being a tyrant. He'll tell you when, those are your people. Those are the people you want around you. You know, and it can be kind of hard to, because you can't do anything you're doing on this album without those people around you.
Yeah, definitely. Because I don't know. I realize my pursuit of earning people's love, that's super self-destructive thing, is an unnecessary, it's a fool's errand. Because everybody who loves me, I can say, actually kind of loves me for no reason.
Explain.
I used to date this girl, and she said, why do you want to be with me? And I would be like, I don't know. But I did know. She was a great girl. I learned a lot from her. I loved her, deeply loved her. But what I meant to say by saying that was there's nothing you could not do that would make me not love you type of deal. And that's what I feel like I get from the people who truly love me in my life. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, but people love you for a reason. You know, it can feel like that's not the case, but outside of your talent and outside of the reach that you've built for yourself over the last 5 years, you're a human being. You're someone's son. You're someone's brother. You know, these are these
But that's kind of I don't know. Yeah, that is a reason, but that's not the type of reason I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Nothing, it's not anything I could change about myself. The reasons why someone could truly love me. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think being loved for appearing a certain way or showing up for people in certain ways are the kind of reasons that I don't really want to seek love through anymore. Because I sought her out through money or accolades or acclaim or just even being impressive. That's one thing I had to break down on myself. I don't have to be impressive. I can just be nice.
Right.
I can just be kind.
Yeah.
I don't even. Yeah, being impressive. Who's that fucking for?
Right.
Certainly not for me.
And I'm sorry. Finish.
Yeah. No, that was it.
I was just gonna say, it's the same thing with love. You know, people can just that's almost the purest form of love. Just loving somebody, not for no reason, but just I love you for you type
it's
shit.
Inextricable from you.
Yeah.
My love for you is not something I can point to and not be pointing at you. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's that's what people talk about when they say it's I don't have the words or it's indescribable.
Right.
That's what that means. You know? It's when you feel that. You know, it's indescribable. It's that type shit. It's indescribable. You know, and I think one aspect of all your projects that's really this is stretching all the way back to Sun.
Mm-hmm.
At this point is the idea of exposure, the idea of like you said earlier, submission. To me, I'm thinking you talk on Sense, you said you laid your carcass out in the field at the very end, and then there's another line on here where on Ocean Floor where you say you're only leaving the bones behind.
Yeah.
You know, there's no meat, no entrails, bones, bleached white bones.
Yeah.
And that's what shadowbox is to me. You know, it feels like you've been digging to the bottom of you, and these are the bones.
Yeah, because I think with my love of art, with my love of music, with any love that I'm into, my love of God, they're kind of loves that when I leave, I won't be taking anything with me.
Right.
That's the way I want to love. That's why I want to make art. It feels good to make it like that.
Yeah,
Feels true.
cause it is.
Yeah.
And like that's harrowing shit. You know, so like how did you center yourself while you were making this out? Did you
No.
center yourself? Yeah.
No. Have you heard it? No. I was having sex and getting drunk and getting high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like all the time.
Yeah.
I was like only distracting myself. I was like centering myself. Like I'm centered now. Like I'm all zenned out. Like I'm all by myself. I be praying out loud. I cry, but not like out of like drunk frustration. I just feel like I've been needing to cry. So like man, it's like shit. Even if I don't win them all, I at least like am playing with a full roster of like good tools, you know.
Yeah.
But like no, during the making of this album, the fuck I guess I was centering myself by like doing shit where I couldn't have sex or do drugs or get drunk, like being with my mom and stuff. But then I gotta be like hungover and shit, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. How I was living, bro. That ain't no way to live, man. Fuck. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like I'm a young man with my first run-in of a lot of strong stuff. And I think it was in The Sopranos, they said, with anything strong, you gotta have rules.
Yeah.
And I had to have a reason to make my rules. And now I have my rules. I don't play by them. Yeah.
Wow. And like, I hesitate to ask this, but after this was done, how did you apply those rules?
Commitment to absolute truth, celibacy, abstinence in general from stuff, from all manner of things, and yeah, like praying and shit, like, and also like I'm doing shit like type shit I'm on, like I'm buying a house.
Hey,
Yeah, so like,
that's different.
but like when you have a house, you can't like just like take your shit and throw it on the ground. You gotta like pick your shit up, you know, or like your house is gonna be fucked up forever. And you can't just move it to like another apartment that's less fucked up. So it's like that's kind of how I'm living my life. Like I'm living my life like how I'm treating my house. Like this is what this is where I will be for the next 30 years. Let's do everything in our power to make it a good place and keep it a good place, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm getting old. I'm gonna be 25.
I'm getting old. Let me put something into perspective real quick. I'm 32 and I feel like I'm a baby still.
I think I will always be a baby, but I'd like to be like, I don't know. I would like to be a well-nourished baby.
Yeah.
Because I can't help it. You know? And I think I was not nourishing myself well, my baby well. You know?
Right. But yeah, no, I just say that to say that like the process, I mean like you know this, but like the process never ends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's no finish line to this shit. Like death's the finish line. You know?
Definitely, but I think what I'm getting at is more like, I was like playing the same video game over and over and getting my ass whipped at the same boss level every time. And at some point you gotta be like, well, maybe there's like a strategy for beating this boss. Even if the next boss beats the shit out of me, let's not lose to this guy anymore.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Like I'd like to lose to different things. Like I don't want my life to be about my failures at 23, 24 forever.
Right.
That seems like a waste of my life, honestly.
It's torture.
Yeah, literally.
You know?
And God gonna keep showing you the lesson till you show us, till you accept it. You know, like everything that, you know, everything that you fuck up will be fucked up until you don't fuck it up. You know?
Right. So I'm really interested. Like, I mean, like you just mentioned, like you're about to buy a house.
Yes.
Big step. you're at a point now where, you know, like I'm looking around and doing my, I mean, like knowing you like I know you, I'm still doing my research anyway, and it's like you're like from where you were 5 years ago, you're up there now.
No.
Like
No. Up there, it's an affordable house. Like,
oh no. I meant no. Sorry, not in terms of bread. I meant I meant in terms of like where you started as a person, creatively. You are up there now. You know, like in terms of like renown and reach. You know, like you've been. All your music is about cleaning your house.
Yeah.
You know, like it's always been about. I mean, like you're also like, you're talking your shit. There's plenty of flex shit in your shit, which I feel like people take for granted in your shit all the time. But like, a lot of it is cleaning the house.
Yeah.
How far into the house have you cleaned? You listen to Shadowbox. Shadowbox is out, or it will be out. At like what process of cleaning the house is Shadowbox?
Oh yeah, I think the beginning of Shadowbox is like, you know, like on Hoarders, where they're like, but Miss Johnson, you haven't touched this china in 80 years. And she's like begging and pleading, no, I'm throwing a fit.
Yeah.
So the album begins there, and at the end, I'm like dusting the corners, you know?
I mean, like, and it's crazy because dusting the corners can feel like some of the most challenging shit ever, because like getting the corners is tough.
Yeah.
Like with like the big ass duster and shit. Like you can't, like, that's gonna take a minute.
Yeah,
you know.
It's like committing to the detail, you know. Cause like, you know, I ain't really do nothing that bad. Like that. I ain't kill nobody. I ain't beat nobody up. I ain't like physically harm or psychologically. Oh, okay. I guess I feel like I cheated on people. I got drunk more often than I should have, and I got high more often than I should have. Fucking 24.
Yeah.
So, but like at the end of the day, though, the devil is in the details, and how you fail. If you continue to fail at it, defines how you fail. Like how you fail at things that are minor by certain standards, or even the older people in my family. They're like, "Bobby, you're just fucking 24. Like, you're a dumbass, but you're the age to be a dumbass." I'm like, no, I don't want to fucking be a dumbass. So it's like, yeah, I think like, yeah, whatever allowances I would ever give myself, it's like, I want to get the small things right, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I get certain big things right, I'm very intimately corrected by God. Like, for example, like, I always got really good grades in school. I didn't really ever do my homework, and I'd like get 100 on the test type of thing. But like, because I didn't really do any homework, there weren't as many checkpoints for the teacher to come and correct ways I was doing things wrong. And while I would get hundreds, because I skipped so many of the little things, eventually I get a 70, or eventually I get an F. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I kind of want to just do all the little things right too, cause like God has blessed me to like have some big things down pat. Like rapping good as hell. These niggas can't rap better than me. So it's like I might as well be a good man on top of that. Like who was not?
And see, coming from anybody else, that would sound fucking crazy. But y'all are gonna hear Shadowbox in less than 2 hours. And you're gonna see what I've seen, what he's seen, what quite a few people in this room have probably already seen. But like, this is it's a special one. Thank you, Mavi.
Thank you, Dylan.
Wow. Questions. Does anybody have questions for me or Mavi before we wrap this up?
Yeah. said some shit earlier that's been stuck with me this whole time. You said like, or you made the connection between like alcoholism and God being about submission.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me as someone who grew up really religious, but also done a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
And that idea that like I can't do it on my own, I need something bigger than myself or something that can affect, my insides, right? And so, sorry if it's a little too deep, but it just made me think of the question like, at what point is God like another drug?
God is absolutely another drug. But the thing is, you're gonna build a church to something. And really your God is a reflection of yourself and your ideals, how you want to appear if nothing could be wrong with you. And if you were made of everything. Like, God don't really have to exist for us to like move like there are stakes. And it don't have to be like bribery and blackmail.
Right.
That's not what it's about. It's about like, what is my unreachable standard and how do I submit myself to just trying to imitate that standard to the best of my abilities. And I think like, yeah, God is absolutely another drug. Like, other drugs are like drugs themselves. Sobriety is another drug. Some people get super obsessed about it. Like food, like for better or worse, could be a drug. The gym is a drug.
Music could be a drug.
Music is a drug. Like the arts, fighting, killing, violence, stopping violence, So it's like, for me, music can't be my drug of choice or my God. It can't. Like, making music is like my best friend in the world. But I can't make it my God because, like, we doing this in America and, like, I would die fast if I did that. So it's like, where do I put all of this me at? Like, how do I ingest all of this world in a way that my body can process? And it's like, I'm doing a bit of projection onto the universe, into the image of my best self. And we call that worshiping God. Yeah.
That's what faith is. Any other questions?
So you say that God is like a reflection of yourself, right? So when it comes to like feeding your mind things, like what do you feed your mind to give yourself positive things? How can I say this? How do you like feed your subconscious in a way that eventually your conscious mind has a positive conception of God that you feel like you can worship and give?
Oh yeah, I think by being around the best people I can, which is so frequently my family, and so frequently like the children in my family. I think like young people, what we call ignorance is like a real like thirst for life and like hope, and I think that really is inspiring. And then like also really old people, because it's like there's no low or no high that really can rock the boat. So I think like being around like my grandparents with a T now, shit. Being around my grandma, being around my parents, being around my elders, kicking it with old niggas in the city. I be kicking it with old niggas in the city. I think that's one thing I also want to say, like, bro, if y'all don't have a friend that's above 70 years old, change that.
Get that.
Life.
Get that.
Like, that's
Get
not
that.
related to you at all. Like, I be kicking it. I'm finna flex. So one of my best homies is this man named Ken Kuntz, right? Ken Kuntz was the first black man to be on the news in Charlotte. That was like my bro, dog. Like, we kick, he would play cards, talk to him. And like, it's a lot of mistakes that he made like a lot of times over his life that like, ooh, I'm like, ooh, maybe that's how that looks when you make that mistake a lot. And there's a lot of things he kind of never got wrong, and I'm like, damn, if I implement that. So it's like, just being around people that like I can take an example from in whichever direction. Yeah.
I think we got time for a couple more questions. Right here.
What were some of your musical influences or artists you're listening to at the time?
I don't listen to nothing that like sound like nothing I be trying to make.
Right. Yeah.
So I like that question's like start getting like difficult to answer because like I guess like what I rap like and what tradition I rap like it's like mostly stuff I was exposed to like when I was like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then I like started like not doing that anymore. So like I can't really say what musically I put in to get this out and with me as a throughput. I think like I took my working knowledge of how to make a song, combined it with new techniques, some invented, some borrowed from my collaborators, and just did the thing, you know? Yeah.
Got two more, I think. Tal, you're next.
Yeah, you wrote like writing from for 5 minutes, writing from the bottom
Oh,
a
yeah.
very long time ago.
Yeah.
And then on this album, it sounds like you're also like returning to kind of writing from the bottom.
Yeah.
So do you find that music is like a primary therapy for you, or like does it help you get out of the rut?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I need to get a good therapist again. And I'm scared I won't be able to rap as good. I don't know. I got unpacking to do. But yeah, music definitely like allows me to say things that sometimes prose doesn't reflect the curvature of the moment the right way. So yeah, music is definitely a way of me like coalescing like opposing ideas or complicated feelings. For
Do you
sure.
journal?
Yeah, I journal now. Yeah. I do journal. I used to didn't journal because I ain't want like people I was talking about like to read it. But now I don't got nobody that I talk about that would go in my shit. So yeah.
And my man, right up here, you got last question right here.
Dang,
Yeah.
You mentioned briefly earlier about how you kind of operated on like your last tour, about after every show you have to drink, celebrate, whatever.
hell yeah.
Have you thought about how you're gonna go about this next tour that you're going on?
Oh yeah. I ain't playing. Silas coming.
I'm drinking, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, no, Cass to hold it down.
Well, Silas will be my drinker friend. No, I'll be like, here, a shot for you. But no, like I know that like the road is a different type of being alive because you do the same thing every day. So being careful about how you start it, even if that's not how you finish it, like will extend your shelf life. Like you will be forced eventually into eating something shitty, sleeping not enough. So like how you feel better and how you cope with a tough day at work, that's really, really influential on the road. Because you don't have your normal grounding techniques of like getting in your own bed or seeing people, What else you was
No, it's just we was on the Jack Harlow shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny as shit, bro. I was on my like, nah, bro, I'm push ups. I'm like, man, you got magnesium, my nigga. Like, man, come on. Like, I was like annoying with that shit, and he's was like, man, like, where the grab at? Like, every like,
Bro, and then like the second leg, this nigga came the first night, bro. The Houston homies picked him up. I should have never did that shit, bro. Bro, the homie picked.
No. I said this shit. Alright. Sorry.
Cass is dying. Y'all can't see him, but he's dying.
Talk about how you got picked up for tour.
I tell everybody this story, but it's crazy as fuck. Like, come out the airport, I'm with your manager, and she's like, you talking this shit. It's fucking black, like, SUV pull up. First of all, this nigga was like, yo, got a sprinter, nigga, like, you gonna go crazy. I'm like, oh, who's got a sprinter? Black SUV pull up. I'm like, alright, that's cool, fuck it. Hop in the car.
Sticks.
I think V's playing. I don't know what's in the back seat. I just know the speaker is on 200%. This nigga like come out like, I'm like, lie about this shit, nigga, I'm gonna fuck. In the front seat playing the music, I'm like, damn, where am I at? Like, alright, whatever. Like, I fuck with this nigga. I'm here. Like, we here. Fuck it.
I was on some full Tupac shit. Like, I was scaring niggas. Like,
You spitting on the news crew and shit.
bro,
This nigga didn't give a fuck. But mind you, I think you had gotten that. He
I was all concussed.
He got an accident and shit. Nigga wasn't doing well. But I was like, man, I'm here with my nigga. I don't give a fuck. I'm still on my shit. So like, hop in the car and it was I ain't gonna say his name, but the homie was driving. This nigga doing like 90 on the freeway, like, just like music blasting. Like I'm in the back, like damn, this is crazy. And we get back to the hotel, we chillin' and shit. I just remember one night this nigga was like, he came in the hotel room just like mad late. Was like, bro, last night this nigga in the car, and this nigga was driving. And while this nigga was driving, this nigga stood on the seat and was in the sunroof while he was driving. And I was like, "Nigga, that's crazy." He was like, "Yeah, that shit crazy." And just fell asleep. I was like, "Man, I love this nigga." I love this.
Nah, I don't condone none of that type of shit. That's how I used to be, bro. I told this nigga, he was like, bro, I'm worried about you. You need to go home. He like, what if you die? I said, nigga, I don't give a fuck. I said, then he said, do you care if I die? I said, nigga, if you die, we die together. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. That nigga said that shit the next day. I said,
he's like, nigga, I'm going home. That nigga said, this nigga tripping. But I'm much better.
I know. It's funny. The next morning, like, I go outside, like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm leaving this shit. This nigga, like, I'm like, I'm going. Then he sent me a text, like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, all right.
Being in the car with Mavi is it's an interesting time. I be thinking about when we had to go find Zay's phone after the pitchfork. Yeah, no, we don't gotta do that. But that was but I bring that up because we're talking about V's in the car. You made me appreciate Weekend more than I appreciated it before.
Oh yeah.
Because you threw that shit on while we were driving from. It is the best V song. That and the new one, "Fuck the Fan," is crazy.
Oh, no,
But
that's fine.
yeah, that shit goes crazy. But yeah, that was just Car Mavi car stories are a good time. But thank you, Mavi.
Thank you.
I love you more, man.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.